Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about the recent buff that Lawyer got. There was a lot that happened in the update that happened yesterday, and a lot of people aren't really considering all the ramifications. The big obvious one, of course, is spawn selection. I plan on making a guide on how to do it since so many more people have access to it now, since any Griffins and above have access rather than just the Titans and Champions that got it. So, um, I will do that eventually, but right now I wanted to talk about specifically the lawyer buff. Everything else is minor. Not much might be a little bit more balanced. Leo's buff is pretty good. Uh, Professor's buff is really Professor's nerf is only really for tournaments. He, but that's a whole separate thing. Specifically, I wanted to talk about your boy Lawyer. Now, I've been a lawyer advocate for a while. Those, any of you who know me, and before his buff, Lawyer was really good at one thing. Or he was good at a couple things. For one, he was really good in solo queue. As someone who was able to bring him up all the way almost to tier 7 solo queue with just Lawyer, he's really good at it. The main reasons why, and this applies also to lower tiers, he's really easy, good, beginner friendly, but he can not only can he have decent decoding, once he finishes Cypher, he gets a 20% buff, which is it's not as good as Mind's Eyes, I think, but it's still really fast. And like Mind's Eye, he has wall hacks, but without the whole giving yourself away. So, what you can do is that you can decode whenever you spawn in, you can use your map, find out where the hunter is, where they're going, and you can rotate so that you're just never found, and you can just decode happily, Cypher Rush. You basically get 250% decoding, and even if everyone dies with that 250% decoding, that's fairly easy to get with Lawyer. You will usually lose at most 2 points, and even then, you're most likely gonna either gain no points or gain a couple points at least. Um, and then of course he also can't be terror shocked. That it doesn't help him as much as you think it would. It just gives some the big nice thing about being terror shocked is that you can get hit and vault at the same time, and then uh, that plus the hit boost plus veterans plus the plus windows makes him go just super far, and that's pretty nice. And um, if he needs to rescue, he can. He's always the with the map. You can see Ripper, and he's a very common hunter, so he's pretty good against Ripper. His no terror shock and wall hacks also help against Woo and Wax Artist. He can tell if there's a Joseph immediately without seeing a camera, can immediately hide, so he's pretty decent against Joseph. And his Cypher Rush is actually really good against Alva. The main reason why is because the shared progress goes to his decoding map progress, so he gets that 20% boost a lot, like really quickly against Alva. And so he's able to really Cypher Rush. He's a good Cypher Rush counter. And this kind of makes him a jack of all trades. He can basically do everything. He can kite, he can rescue, he can decode. He didn't have huge strengths, but he also didn't have huge weaknesses either. His biggest weakness was once you reach tier 7, you got to pick spawns, and that really hurts Lawyer because the hunter can just spawn next to Lawyer, and even with wall hacks, it's gonna be hard to hide for the most part. So he would really be used. The best way to describe him is that he's amazing to like get yourself up there in the tiers, but once you get to like tier 7, you should know what you're doing. You should probably pick someone else. Composer is a good replacement or someone else. Um, Now let's talk about the numbers of his buff. So basically, um, Lawyer already had it to where every time he decoded 5% of a cipher, his decoding speed would increase by 1% for up to 20%, and that's still the same. Um, the the new parts are now every time he travels 18 meters, his movement speed is increased by zero point 0.2 for up to 5% extra speed. And every time he vaults a new pallet or window, the vaulting speed will increase by 1.5% for up to 12%. And basically, what that means is that if you're able to max those out, he vault having knee jerk plus the vaulting speed increase of 12% will make you vault about as fast as a forward. Maybe a little bit slower, maybe a little bit faster. I haven't done the numbers yet, but you vault really really fast. And then you also get the movement speed, which is very helpful in that because you're able to tight kite and just completely rotate hunters and stuff. It makes it a lot easier when you're rotating around like a couple walls and the hunter is trying to either red light trick you or it just buys that little bit more time that he really needs when it comes to kiting is the best way to put it. And they also buffed his map. For one, it used to be every time you open the map, it would automatically take 5% of the map's progress. Now it's 4. And also every time he has, whenever he has a map open, and the buff, the movement speed and vaulting increases he gets are doubled. So if you have the map open and you're running, you will get that 5% movement speed twice as fast compared to when you don't. And then instead of having to vault 8 different pallets or windows to get the 12% vaulting buff, you only need to vault 4 windows with the 4 windows slash pallets with the map open. And then another big thing is, so doing all of that tends to make you lose all your map. I usually never really lost more than 75% of my map as lawyer unless I was kiting for a really long time. But with these buffs, you tend to lose the map every game. And before the buffs, whenever you lost the map, you would lose the decoding buff. But now those decoding speed increases, the movement speed increase, and the vault speed increase is no longer tied to his map. And so that means that you can just use the map and then, sorry, you can use the map and still have all of your buffs, and you can even gain more buffs without the map, you're just getting them slower. And so this does so much for him. For one, he becomes really good against Nightwatch. The biggest way to counter Nightwatch is you throw down 2 pallets and you just kind of rotate them. And the way that Nightwatch would counter that is that he would bring Impulsive and then use his Lawn Swing to catch up to you. But with Lawyer, his movement speed increase plus his vault speed increase makes it so that it's really hard for Nightwatch to get that Terror Shock over the pallet after he jumps over a different one. It may even be impossible, especially since Nightwatch was nerfed. It also makes it so that he's against most hunters. It's basically impossible to stuff a lawyer rescue now, because he can't get terror shocked if you're able to, like, for example, dodge the Ripper Foggy Blade, or even if it's like a Bloody Queen or whatever. As long as it's not something like Bonbon, lawyer's basically never going to be stuffed on a rescue, and he can decode. And another nice thing is once he gets that 5% movement speed increased, that makes any harassing and any support that 5%, just 5% better. So because you get 5% more distance, it just makes harassing 5% better. So like every time the forward stuns with his football, that's 5% better because he gains that 5% more distance. Every time Ench uses her stun to stun the hunter who's chasing the lawyer, that lawyer is going to go 5% further, which can get you to so many windows, so many pallets. And that's not even like the only thing he can do. He pairs really well with like Toy Merchant. And the reason why he pairs well with Toy Merchant is because Toy Merchant can just give him an item, and because he doesn't need his map for his buffs, he can just take the item, and all of a sudden it's like he's a mercenary, or he can dash with as like a forward to get to the chair faster, or he can use the wand to get up to the chair, maybe rescue and then take the hit after rescuing. Anything like that. He also works well with Postman because Postman's buffs stack with his buffs. So if he gets the movement speed letter along with his 5% speed, all of a sudden Lawyer's just zooming, and you bring Windows boost with it, and you get hit when vaulting, you're basically getting across the map as a Lawyer. Or it also stacks with the vaulting and the Windows boost letters that Postman has. And then not only all of that, since he still has wall hacks, he's actually really good with voice communication, like a four man stack team in rank or tournament or whatever, because the hunter's never gonna be able to surprise anyone. If all Lawyer has to do is he needs to look at his map, he'll be able to say Hunter's a Night Watch. They're going to the Mercenary from such and such location, and all the survivors will then be able to rotate the Night Watch. They might need some, uh, they might need checkups from the Lawyer, but otherwise, you're gonna be able to just decode so much faster doing that because everyone knows where the hunter is going at all times. Which, while you can do without Lawyer makes it way easier. Because let's say hunter spawns. Uh, the map is Chinatown. Hunter spawns in hotel, and he decides to go after the female dancer that is outside of hotel, like right at the two pallets. Lawyer to be able to tell the female dancer that, and the female dancer will already know where to go. She will already know. She will be able to by just that much more time, while everyone else immediately starts decoding since they already know what the Night Watch is doing and they know that they're safe. And so that's really all I wanted to talk about with Lawyer. Um, if you have any questions, ideas, whatever, leave them in the comments or ask me personally if you know me. Um, Otherwise, thank you all for watching and listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.